Hello and welcome back to another Patreon Q&A. If you're new, this is where I answer my patrons' questions every few months, but if you're not a patron, that's cool. Just ask the question in the comments of this video and I'll respond to them down there. Mark Del Vecchio asks, favorite Need for Speed and Burnout games? Any thoughts on the new ones? With Burnout, I sort of flip-flop between my favorite being either Burnout 3 or Burnout Paradise, which I think are generally considered to be the two best. I actually like returning to Paradise a little bit more, I think, but I'm always those are the two I always go back to. I think Burnout 4 Revenge, is that what it was called? I think that one was a little too weird with the traffic checking. Everything before 3 was a little too simplistic. And Paradise, I really sort of liked the new dynamic of the open world, which I know people didn't, but I found that cool, and I found the stunt things cool, and just a good game. They're both good games. Need for Speed, my favorite's probably Underground 1, mostly because it's the one I sort of played the most as a kid, but I also really like Need for Speed Most Wanted and Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit on the PS1. All three of those games sort of mean a lot to me, but the series as a whole, I don't really care about anything outside of that sort of street racing era. I don't mind Hot Pursuit 2010, but anything before Need for Speed 3 I don't really care about. I find them a bit dated and weird, and I didn't really like Shift or where the series sort of went after, Most Wanted 2005. But yeah, I haven't actually played the Need for Speed games from 2015 onwards. I haven't played like the Ghost Games ones at all, so can't comment on those, unfortunately. Lewis Dalton asks, what's your favorite non-Tony Hawk skateboarding game, and did you ever do skateboarding in real life? Yes, I did. I actually still skateboard a fair bit, and I've always been pretty terrible at it, but I just sort of enjoy, dropping in and rolling around the ramps, and doing little stalls and stuff. I'm not great, but it's fun. My favorite non-Tony Hawk skateboarding game would probably have to be one of the skate games, and it's hard to split them. I think the first one has the most style, but 2 and 3 are mechanically far better. Maybe not 3. 3's weird. Everyone tells me that 3's the bad one, but I actually quite like 3, and it runs the smoothest. But I don't. 1 and 2 have a way better map than 3. But 3 runs smoother, and I play the most of 3. I don't know, man. They're really, really hard to split, but it'd easily have to be one of the skate games. But I also really like Thrasher's Skate and Destroy on the PS1. Dominic Chikoki asks, any chance you'll ever expand into licensed anime games? There are a number of them that hit your Venn diagram of being both notable and gifted with an interesting development history. Yeah, sure, nothing is off the charts, but I'm not a big anime guy. Something I really like about what I do with the sort of mini-me channel thing is I get to use reviewing these licensed games as a reason to delve into these franchises and these series and sort of discover what they're all about. So feel free to recommend me any anime games, and I will do that. I'll delve in and I'll get to know it all, and I'll play the games, and that's definitely not off the cards. Favorite albums of the year so far? From Loss. My favorite is probably the King Gizzard album, because it's maybe the only one I've listened to this year. I haven't listened to a lot of new albums. I think Oliver Tree had one, if I recall correctly. But I don't know, man. I guess in 2020 it's been such an annoying year that I've just sort of indulged myself in remembering the past, in being nostalgic, and just reliving better years of my life through music, so I haven't been sort of discovering new stuff that much. Ritalin for Kids, Come Hockey Dad Drive-In Gig, October 9th. Done. Deal. I'll be there. Giant Purple Pen 15. The joke is not lost on me there. What are your 2 most memorable solo and co-op gaming moments? I can't think of any specific co-op gaming moments that were super memorable, but I have a co-op gaming friend, like a 2-player co-op friend, and for a while we were going through just random co-op games, trying to find good ones, and I remember being just so delighted when we actually did, and out of games that weren't well regarded necessarily, like when we discovered The Last Templar, which is like a 5 out of 10 sort of Metacritic, poorly reviewed game, but we really enjoyed it with co-op. And also Fear 3, which I know Fear fans absolutely hate, but I had the most fun with Fear 3, man. Like, not the most fun in the series. Like, obviously Fear 1's great, but I just had a lot of fun with Fear 3 in co-op, and it was just cool sort of stumbling into those games. But yeah, as far as solo gaming moments, the one that came to mind when I read this question was I was at PAX one year. I was at PAX Melbourne, and there was a Time Crisis 1 arcade machine. And, I booted it up. I had a crack. You only get one life on the arcades, and without paying, that is. And I got through most of the game just on that one life. And that's because, like, when I was growing up, I had the Time Crisis games on PlayStation. Like, I got really, really good at it growing up. And I drew a crowd. It was like an 80s kids movie. There was a crowd just forming around me as I was shooting. It was so nerdy, dude. As I was shooting dudes in Time Crisis, there was this crowd forming. I specifically remember a dude saying it was the best thing he'd seen all day, and this was late in the day at a video game conference. So that was a funny moment for me where I got to show off my Time Crisis 1 skills. Nicholas Wilson, how are things with you? Or how's things with you? I'm good, relatively. It's obviously been a tough year, and it's sort of hard to answer this question because, parasocial relationships are weird, and I don't want to make you feel bad for me, but obviously I'm pretty exhausted, as is pretty much everyone this year. But relatively, I'm good. Like, Australia isn't impacted too bad by the virus. I have a good group of people in my life, and it's hard to complain with so much going on in so many other people's lives around the world. But it's been exhausting, and I'm taking the steps to sort of refresh my head and keep going and sort of, continue YouTubing, continue life, continue keeping myself together. So, I'm trying to talk to the right people and get help where I can and, keep my head on straight, basically. And I'd encourage anyone else who's going through that to do their best to do the same. But for the most part, like, I am genuinely all good. But, thank you for asking, Nicholas. I appreciate it. How are you? That is the Patreon Q&A video this time around. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for subscribing to the Patreon. And hope you've all been well. And I'll talk to you in another video. Bye.